Antihero was released July 10th, 2017 for $14.99. You can find it on Steam, developed by Tim Conkling, published by Versus Evil. It's an indie strategy game. Antihero is a fast turn-based strategy game with a Oliver twist. Recruit street urchins, hire thugs, start a game, upgrade your guild, steal everything, and bribe, blackmail, and assassinate your way to victory. This game includes a story-driven campaign, AI skirmishes, and an intense online and offline PvP mode. Going into it, what were your expectations for Antihero, Monica?
So I was actually very excited about it. I tend to enjoy games like this that are almost just video game board games in a sense. I have loved them and I've hated them, but I definitely am prone to wanting to try them out. So I was very excited about this. This is a title that we found together, and I was like, yeah, we've got to do this one. And it reminded me a little bit of Armello, which I've played in the past, which I liked. I easily got sucked into it. I loved just the, getting through one game and going up against another, and this intrigued me because it's not just, you can do the kind of the campaign, you can also play against other people, and I like that mix. So yeah, I was actually pretty excited about this one. What about you?
Yeah, I know you kind of pointed this game out to me, and immediately I was taking this game just looks like it has really great style. The board game aspect was very apparent. I don't know if it was the angle that you're looking at the game from, and I don't think I've played a game like that on the PC where it was like a board game. So I was excited to get into it. It kind of has this old school English feel, almost like Gangs of New York type of vibe going on. So I was really kind of pumped to get into it and just see what it was all about. So let's start off with some of the things that we liked about it.
Did you just say old school English feel, like Gangs of New York?
Yeah, that old school, that time period, old school English time period, and then if the movie Gangs of New York, one of the characters in it has that mustache that the butcher had in Gangs of New York.
I just thought that you thought New York was in England.
No.
I'm just kidding.
Hey, I mean York was all right.
Okay, true. So one of the things that I really liked, you kind of started hitting on this just from the get-go, was the aesthetic of the game. I liked the feel, the look and feel of it. I thought that the landing page when you're very first starting up the game is a little simple. There's not I don't need anything crazy, but I jumped onto it and I was like, oh man, is this what I thought? And then I jumped into the game and everything started looking exactly how I wanted it to. The art style is fun. The art style actually reminds me a little bit of Don't Starve.
Yeah.
And that's a cute, quirky art style. And so I really liked the aesthetic. I liked the characters that they created. It was just overall an enticing visual game.
Yeah, I think I gotta kind of piggyback on that with the art, and also bring the sound into this game. Everything they did, really fit what they were trying to achieve, and they didn't skip on it. All the assets in this game are done very well, very stylized. It looks like they're they actually put time and love into their craft, and not just pumping out assets because this is some game, but this is almost like their baby. And so the art was on point, the sound was on point, the narrator in this game, you could
narration is good.
You could feel how much they loved making this game and wanted to make a really great product.
Right.
What else were you?
So I think one of the things that with these games is that sometimes I call it video game board game. It's a strategy game. But,
sure.
But the way it's presented is almost like board game-esque. And one thing that I like about tend to not like about games like this is if they're too complex. This game though was a good combination where it's complex to the point where when you first started off, you're like, oh god, there's so much to know. I'm in over my head. How am I gonna get this? I kind of had that panic sense of this is a lot. But I am well versed enough in these types of games to realize that you will get the hang of it. And then once you get the hang of it, that the true game comes out. And I think that this game, what I liked was that it was intimidating at first, but it wasn't. It didn't bore quickly,
Right.
For me. So I really liked that. That it seemed like a good balance. For like just the entertainment level.
Absolutely, and I think like the way the characters, like there is a little bit of a, like you get into it and it does feel a little bit overwhelming, but then very quickly you realize that that's it. Like here are like, you know, a handful of things you have to know, and they are simple like you were saying, and then once you start putting things together, I think that was one of the most enjoyable part to me, is how these characters interact with each other, how you use, there are these thugs that they don't last very long, but you can put them on the board and it blocks unless you set up other plays, and that is just
right.
There is depth there, and there's
a lot of depth to the strategy.
Yeah, and
there are a lot of elements. I mean, if we could go, we could spend an entire hour like talking about all of the elements to the strategy. But there are like things that you can throw out there to like really throw your opponent off.
Yep.
And yeah, there like you said, there's a lot of depth.
Yep.
Which is awesome.
Mm-hmm. I also like. Do you like the upgrade system?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was fun. I don't know that I spent enough time in the game to like really milk it for what it was worth. But you know, what did you like about it?
Like, I don't know how I felt about it, because it felt good in the game, but I think the thing I liked most about it is how you're able to access it during your turn. It's not like you started your turn, spent your points, and that was it, or you did that at the end of your turn. You're able to start playing your turn a little bit, and then once you see what's going on, kind of how your enemy has set you up for these like traps and stuff they laid out for you, you're able to go into your upgrades in the middle of that turn and like work it the way you want to. Like that is a really kind of unique aspect of this game, and I don't necessarily know like how they came to the decision, if it was like completely intentional, but it worked out fantastic. Right. And I love that, and I wish strategy games would sometimes employ that more after seeing this, and like see how much fun just comes from that.
Right, it makes you feel like your turn, you can like do more with it, and there's a lot of strategy with the upgrades too.
Sure.
Like, you know, one of the things I think I liked maybe the most about the game is just kind of the quirkiness.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of like, I think this goes along with the fine details that you like, how you said that they really made a whole game here, and they really did. They follow they're following definitely an art style and just a style in general, but their quirkiness comes through even with like their wording.
Yep.
You know. And I that's fun for me, you know. I don't view it as childish or anything like that. I view it as like exactly what I would want in this type of setting.
All right, I think we're kind of gushing over this game a little bit, so let's get into the things that we disliked.
Okay, so one of the things that I really so there's a lot of strategy. I talked about how much strategy there is in this game.
Yeah.
But there's also just a lot of luck.
Sure.
So when you're up against your opponent, like you can almost sabotage yourself very early on and not realize it.
Yeah.
Because of the amount of luck that happens in this game. So I guess as much as I love the strategy component of it, I was also like, the luck is almost as prevalent as the strategy.
Yeah, you're definitely in the dark about what your opponent's doing until you stumble on it, and like you do get unlucky because you just don't see some of the stuff coming. I can see that. That's kind of like an anti-fun thing, which kind of rolls into something I disliked about it, which was how the units did decay, and like you could only use certain units for 2 turns and they went away. It's just, I don't know if it's just me, it's a personal thing, I'm not sure, but like in a strategy game, I want to be building something, not having to replace these things. Like I wish I was building this like stronger net of things, but instead I'm just like, I felt like I was replacing stuff that I already had set up, and it's just a small part that really took away, because there are so many little gameplay aspects to this and like mechanics that one thing, like because of that, it really kind of took away from it more than probably it would in other games.
And I think that actually blends into my next point, is that these games can sometimes run a little long, or it feels like it's running long. And I think that what you're talking about there adds to it. adds to that longer feeling.
Yeah.
Some of the games are like exciting, and then some of them are a little bit more tedious.
Yes.
And you just feel like you're going back and forth without like when will it end?
Yeah.
You know?
I think they said like an online game expect to play it for like 30 to 40 minutes.
Right.
That feels like a long time for this type of game, which doesn't. I don't know if I can commit to that in my day. Like, I really have to block that out to play this game, and I'm not sure if it warrants that.
Well, and I guess it's almost like if you have friends over and you bust out a board game, it's like, hey, you call your friend up, you're like, hey, you want to play a round of this? And you sit down and you play a round, and that's like you've completed the game, you know? So,
sure.
I don't know.
Anything else for you?
I do. I hated, why are these little boys being the ones that are infiltrating? So one of the tactics in this game is that you can get these urchins, and they can, after you scout a building, you can send your urchins in to infiltrate. And the urchins are like little boys. How are they infiltrating these banks? How come no one's noticed that these urchins are working at these banks? Why are they so little? How come when you go to a teller and you see a 6-year-old checking you out, you know, or getting you your cash, you're going to ask questions. They failed there.
All right, a lack of a reality. Just take you right out of it. I got you. I think the last thing for me that I kind of dislike was just the lack of a really engaging story. There's kind of like these little blips of like, hey, this thief is stealing stuff. We're gonna go stop him. And I don't know, it made me feel a little disengaged at times, I guess. I wasn't like fully into it. I definitely didn't make the leap about little boys being bank tellers that you did. So maybe you had that going for you, but I wish they.
I always have those types of things going for me, Brian.
I've noticed. This is episode 24. I've noticed. Any other dislikes?
No, that was it. But as to what you just said right now, you know, I agree with you. One of the things I didn't bring up in my review at all was the story, just because I didn't feel like it played a big enough role to like really warrant whether I liked it or not, I guess. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I
like it definitely feels like the story was an afterthought or something they really didn't like feel like they needed to put time into. And because they gave me like a little bit of story, that hurt them more than if it would just been like, hey, here's our game.
Yeah.
So, you know, you gotta commit if you're gonna do any kind of story in a game. Final thoughts for Antihero.
I am definitely a thumbs up on this. This is a normally $15 game, $14.99 on Steam, and it's currently on a 10% sale until the 17th here. So it's $13.49 right now. If you like board games and if you know, or strategy games in this sense, I think that this is something that you should pick up. Especially at this price point. But even if it was a little bit more, I feel like this is a very solid game, and it fits the criteria of a successful game within this category. So I'm a thumbs up. I recommend it. And get those little boys in those banks. You know, get them working for you.
Child labor is cheap.
Yeah, child labor is cheap. Your little urchins.
I'm gonna go ahead and be right there with you. Thumbs up. This game has a really solid presentation. There's kind of like some rough edges like here and there, but overall, the developers knew what type of game they wanted to make, and they leaned into the simplicity and really let the smaller game that they made that shine because of it. So if you're into like board games, like you said, you're gonna love this. If you're not, maybe wait for a bigger sale. It's probably gonna be on Humble Bundle. It seems like one of those games that's coming down the line for it. But so if you're not into these strategy games, definitely when this game comes on sale, pick it up for this. I had a blast playing it, and I didn't even get into any of the online multiplayer yet, which sounds like
the challenge comes in too, because the AI is not super complicated to fight. But yeah, I think playing against other players would like just be almost like rage inducing or like fist pump inducing, you know? So
sure. All right.
Two side effects.
2 thumbs up for Antihero from Backspace Nomads. You can find it on Steam for $14.99 on sale right now for $13.49. Developed by Tim Conkling, published by Versus Evil. go ahead and grab yourself a drink, maybe a little snack for yourself, because we're going to intermission. And when we come back, Mob Lord from the party is going to be with us. I'll be right back, everybody.